Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today I want to talk about what you should be focusing on right now. I've seen a lot of questions crop up from guild members, shard members, people in the Discord. A lot of players are asking me, hey Phil, what should I be focusing on? And there seems to be a lot of confusion because some players are like, hey, we need to farm Inquisitors and then get to Zepho and Mandalore. Oh, and get Gungans. Oh, and Queen Amidala. Oh, don't forget to get ready for Ahsoka. And it's like, timeout. That's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things going on. And a lot of these accounts who are asking these questions still don't have core Galactic legends. They don't have some of these older farms that are extremely important. And so trying to figure out where to focus right now is really tough. And so I'm going to kind of give you guys some context on when it makes sense to maybe farm these things versus not. So go ahead, please like and subscribe, comment down below. Let's give a massive shout to the channel members for their continued support. If you're ever interested, that link is down below, along with a link to the Discord server. You guys go check it out. I love the Discord server. It is awesome to see you guys being in there. A lot of good questions asked, good conversations. Love to see the great mods from you guys. Thank you again for being a part of this community. Let's get into the video. Alright guys, so we've got a lot going on. We still have, Jar Jar has not yet come back, right? So we still are waiting for Jar Jar to come back. We have news of Galactic Legend Ahsoka. We're getting Balin's Skull as an epic confrontation character. You still have all the stuff needed, whether it's, the Bo-Katan for Mandalore, Jedi Knight Cal for Zepho, Reva. You've got all the cat. Like, there's so much that is going on. And I think a lot of guilds and players are kind of struggling with this focus because you want to stay as much up to date as you can, but it's not the most realistic thing to do when you're not at that tip of the spear, right? In a player in my shoes, at 11 million, over 11 million galactic power, like, I'm going all in on the new marquees, right? I do the gamble packs. Because as soon as they go farmable, I am farming them. So if you're trying to figure out, should you be purchasing these gamble packs for Morgan, or, should you have done it for Qui-Gon or Night Trooper? The way to answer that question is the minute they go farmable, are you going to farm them? If the answer is no, it's probably not worth buying those gamble packs. Because what you're doing with those packs is you're spending crystals to save you time down the road. But if you're not going to be farming them for a little bit, those time savings go away. Right? That you're just, you're not taking the full advantage of it. So in my opinion, if you're not going to be farming them right away, it's not worth it. And for like Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan, I'm going to say now that unless you're going to be getting Queen Amidala, I don't know that I'd be farming these two characters. Not that they aren't good outside of her, but there's probably some better choices that you could make for your account that will be more impactful than those two, in my personal opinion. I think you're going to want to, hey, I've got Queen Amidala, I'm going to get these two. Otherwise, I think maybe it's more of a, let's focus our attention elsewhere, because the big push for them is get them Relic 9 for that Duel of the Fates event, but that's a year, it's a very, very long return on your investment. Not that it isn't worth it, but it's a very long return on your investment. And there's there's that classic, like, hey guys, if you put away $10,000 in, this bond now, and in 30 years it's worth, more money. Well, but what if I need that $10,000 right now to pay for living expenses? I can't afford to put it in that bond. That's kind of like what this Master Qui-Gon, Padawan Obi-Wan, Relic 9 situation is. Yes, it's worth the return on your investment. But if you need it right now on something else, then it's, that investment, it'll eventually pay off, but right now it isn't. So the next thing I need you guys to think about here with your focus is, I know a lot of people are kind of looking at the Gungans and saying, yeah, we should be farming them. I'm okay with the Gungan shout. I am very much okay with this. It's 4 Relic 5s, and then the 5th one being Jar Jar. If you want to take them higher, feel free. Like, it's, they're a very good team outside of the raid. I've gotten a lot of use in them in Conquest. GAC, I'm getting use out of them. Territory Wars. They're a good team. The thing with Gungans that I think a lot of players kind of get, like, they're all like, oh, I should farm Qui-Gon and Master Obi-Wan, but then they kind of are like, oh, I don't want to do the Gungans. I'm telling you guys, the Gungans are the better route to go. It's, yes, I understand Kyrotech is an issue, but very light on Zetas overall. Like, you got a Zeta, 3 of them are only a single Zeta, Boss Nass 2. Jar Jar takes a good bit more Zetas, but it's light on the Zetas. And honestly, I don't even know if you really need the Omicrons yet. I think the Omicrons will help, but it's not like you need every single Omicron. They're very good, even like this, without Jar Jar, I'm still getting good wins. So I'm okay with a lot of guilds saying, hey, go focus Gungans. That one I'm more okay with than a lot of these other situations. The one thing I'll say with that is, like I told you before, when Jar Jar was coming out and they kind of said, hey, it's every 3 months, you just have to make that decision of when you're going to get him. Like for me, I'm waiting for this, this next time, I'm getting Jar Jar. If you're not decided between, hey, Jar Jar's going to be back in a November some time frame. So if you don't yet really have a ton of progress here, you either have to make that decision, you're getting him in November, or, 2025. There's not, you've got to make that decision. That's just the unfortunate truth of Jar Jar being, the other raids had Leia and Jabba where they were in the journey guide. You could go after them at any point. Jar Jar, that's not the case. So you've got to be a little bit pickier. So again, I'm okay with this one. Now, what about like Reva and Inquisitors and building them? I still think this is a very solid option. The one thing I will say, and I always say this, you don't start farming Inquisitors. When you start farming Inquisitors is the sooner of two things. Either one, you're going to be unlocking Scythe from Proving Grounds, or your guild is making that push. And when I say your guild, when guilds say, hey guys, start farming Reva, you could start working on the Inquisitors. But I would not start equipping gear until you're seeing a lot of your guild doing the same. One mistake I made in the past was I went really hard building the clones for the Kaidi Mundi mission. And then I was one of like 5 people in my guild at the time that was able to beat that mission. And I remember being so annoyed that I had spent all of these resources to, get Kaidi Mundi ready and nobody else was there. And everybody else is working on GLs or, Malik or whatever it was. And here I was doing this. And I remember just really feeling kind of ticked off that I was like, man, kind of got taken advantage of a little bit. So my advice for you is kind of match your progress, match your intensity with what the rest of your guild is doing. And for some guilds like mine, that's very easy. We all went Gungans. We all went for Zepho. We all went to Mandalore. But if the rest of your guild is kind of lagging behind, don't feel that need to go crazy and push at something and be the only one there. Now, if you do go and push, potentially that opens up finding another guild. But I want to just make sure you kind of pump the brakes and match the intensity of your input with your guilds. And that way you're not kind of, I don't want to say stuck, because Inquisitors are a good team, but maybe there's something else you could have gotten that would benefit you more. And that same thing goes for Jedi Knight Cal Kestis and Bo-Katan Mandalore. Again, matching with your guild. If the vast majority of your guild is not ready for Bo-Katan, don't make her this massive priority. The thing with Bo-Katan and Jedi Knight Cal, that's even, you need, not just that you need them, but you need to be able to complete the mission. And while the missions aren't, the Cal mission probably a little bit more challenging than the Bo-Katan one, but the bigger thing there is you need the people to be able to do it, and then you've got to be able to earn the rewards on the next planet to really take advantage of it. So it is one of those situations where, again, you've got to look at the full guild, and that's when it comes down to when you're looking for guilds and you're in your guild and you're trying to see what their demands are. It's important to see everything. That if you're in a guild where there's a large gap between the top player and the bottom player, that there's a big gap, that top player is going to be like, hey, everybody go get Bo-Katan. And that bottom player is like, I don't even have Profundity and Leviathan yet. That happens very often. And so that disconnect can be really, really challenging. And so if only a couple players are building Bo, because everybody else still needs to build these core ships and stuff, then maybe you don't do it quite right away. So with your focus on, stuff with Cal, and Bo-Katan, like I was showing, I think it's more okay to match that with your guild, similar with Inquisitors. I don't want you thinking they're not worth getting. And the thing with those guys, comparative to the raid teams, the raid teams in a couple of months will still be good, right? Gungans will still be a good team, right? They're still going to earn you rewards, right? The Queen Amidala team is still going to be a good team. They'll still be able to help you with stuff, but they're not going to get you anymore, right? They're only going to lose value. like realistically, they're only going to lose value outside of, Poe and Master Qui-Gon because of the Duel of the Fates, but they're not going to be what they are worth right now. Whereas, Mandalore and Zepho are in TB. You will get them in 3 years from now. Those planets will still be there that you can earn rewards. So when you're looking at that return on your investment, the raid is a little bit less permanent, but those Mandalore and Zepho is permanent. And it's, and it's a lot. It is a lot of rewards. It's a lot more than you think. It adds up very quickly between the Get To and the additional Kyra tech and the extra stars. They do help. So if I'm a guild, I'm looking to make sure that we're earning a respectable box in the raid, but I think it's much smarter to push for those bonus planets. My guild did that for the speeder bike raid. We decided we wanted to push for Mandalore and Zepho and kind of, hold off on the speeder bike. And it has been a huge blessing for this guild, and I think that it's really helped align us to push really hard in the Naboo raid because we have the resources from earning rewards on Mandalore and Zepho. So I'm a big believer in those two ones as like an area to push for. Now, let's talk about GL Ahsoka. I think unless you have every other Galactic Legend unlocked, I don't know that I'd be focusing Ahsoka yet. Number one, her requirements. We only know 4 of them, and there's a Relic 8 and a Relic 9 there. So right away, she's starting off pretty strong requirements. And one of those is, and again, General Skywalker's an epic confrontation. So if you didn't get that light speed bundle, you don't have him yet, it's a lot more work to do to get there. So the reason I think Guild's trying to say, hey, we need you to be farming Night Trooper and all these other things, I don't know that that's a great focus for most accounts, because what else? They could be requiring more Relic 7s, more Relic 8s, more Relic 9s, and that would be delaying, that's delaying how long it's going to take you to get there. And so those shards that you purchased may end up not helping you because you still have to be, gearing these characters. So I would pump the brakes on Ahsoka if you're free to play until you learn more, unless you're a free to play similar to me where you've got everything else. And I'm not trying to brag when I say this. This is why I think when I make my videos, I try to be a little bit more I try to my best to put myself in the shoes of what's going to help you the most. And I don't know that Ahsoka is that answer. Because for me, I don't have a single hard node that I can actually farm right now. Master Qui-Gon's Cantina, Morgan and Night Trooper not available yet. Sana, Hondo are both in the Cantina, and Tusken Warriors in the Cantina. I have every ship, right? Nothing, I have every ship. So the stuff that I need is stuck behind Cantina, it's Journey Guide, or Conquest with Luthen. So when this stuff goes farmable, I have the ability to go on it right away and smash it, and that's what we're going to do. But most of you are not in that position. And the other part of that as well is you're able to take advantage of accelerated farms. And so with that focus, kind of thinking, oh yeah, I can do 2 for 1, might be worth kind of holding off on some of those newer things and building those older Galactic Legends. Because it's available now. That you know exactly what you need. You can get a head start on it. And a lot of you are going to say, oh, what if they sell light speed bundles for this and that? I don't want, everybody, you could say that for everything, right? Oh, well, what if they sell a light speed bundle for the Bad Batch and I just did them all? Then you did. You know what I mean? There's a risk to everything you do. If you don't want that risk, then go farm the new stuff and don't complain about how long it takes. Otherwise, take that risk and farm those older things and you'll be okay. So I hope you guys are understanding kind of the point of this, that as a player, you kind of need to match your focus with realistically where you are. And of the new stuff to kind of focus on, I think that Mandalore, Zepho, and Gungans, those would be the 3 things that I would argue are the biggest of priorities. I think Reva, again, still a very, very solid option there. I'm not going to, Reva, I should add Reva in there as the first thing. I think even more so than Mandalore and Zepho because of how important she is. She is the only character right now that I would say, maybe Jar Jar could fit in there a little bit, but she's kind of been that character that exists in that realm of, GLs, Reva, non-galactic legends. And there's some other characters that can glimpse their way in there, But I feel that Inquisitors are that team that do that consistently, even without Omicrons. So that's kind of where my focus would be for you guys. And just to give you one last, tidbit to think about here. Look at your guild. Pay attention to what they're farming. Pay attention to what they're doing. If you don't want to be that one player who's missing something, but you also, I'll always say this, like, just to be very selfish, but you also never want to be like the lone person with Bo-Katan or that's Reva ready, and then you're earning those shards, and it's like, what did I do this for? Like, because I can tell you it sucks when that happens. Like, that's not a fun experience. So let me know your thoughts, guys. And I also just, if you're still watching, you guys get to see me vent about this. I won my last Grand Arena, and I got demoted to Kyber 2 because of the skill squish. And I need to throw this in a video. I didn't want to make a full thing out of it, but this is insane to me. The past 2 seasons, I've dropped over 150 points in skill rating. You only gain about 40 from a win. So I lost 150 points. That's almost 4 wins worth of skill squish. So I was so annoyed by this. And you guys wonder why I'm kind of getting burnt out by GAC. And like, this is the reason. And I understand the skill squish. I understand that they want to keep a certain amount of players in Kyber 1. I can recognize that. I understand their logic behind it. But it's absolutely infuriating to me that this squish is this insane from top to bottom, right? Like, that is, to me, I feel like it's crazy. Especially, like, to me, winning your first round should put me back into Kyber 1. Or, like, I should still stay in Kyber 1, just have a lower skill rating, and that way, you lose. All right, now you're in Kyber 2, and you're low Kyber 2. But what am I to say? I'm going to claim my rewards, get my 900 crystals. But I just wanted to show you guys that, because it did just absolutely infuriate me. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Hopefully this kind of helps you focus a little bit. Gives you kind of some perspective, because there is a lot going on, and I think that you can't lose your focus right now. I think that you've got to really kind of keep your head on. And honestly, if you want to farm some of those older things, go do it. I think it's a great time. So let me know your thoughts. Love you all. May the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.